Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
After a year without Bobcat Weekend, the tradition is back on and scheduled for the weekend of Halloween. But would all parents be willing to pay a fee to come?
And the state is looking into ways to help companies verify vaccination status with their customers. All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Welcome back, Bobcats, to the Q30 Newscast. I'm John Surratt.
And I'm Vanessa Blasi. It is great to be back, and we've got plenty of updates, so let's get right to it.
On October 29th to the 31st, Quinnipiac will be holding its Alumni and Parent Weekend on campus. This weekend did not happen last year, but due to COVID-19, but things will be different this year for parents who want to see their children on campus. Q30's Samantha Pirelli has more.
Parents Weekend, also known as Bobcat Weekend, is just around the corner, being October 29th to the 31st. Quinnipiac will have events and activities for students and families to attend to. Yet this year, the price to pay could be $50 or more. The email sent out to parents and alumni for Bobcat Weekend stated that there will be a charge for them to attend the events and activities for this particular weekend. Bobcat Weekend allows parents and alumni to join students on campus for hockey games, cookouts, meet and greets with staff, and more.
We have charged in the past. It's just been more an a la carte type of thing. So you would sign up for a certain event and it might be $10. You sign up for another event, it might be $20, depending on what the event was. So what we have done this year is just streamlined that.
Although Quinnipiac could not have a Bobcat Weekend last year due to COVID-19, students who have attended previous Parents Weekends in 2019 and would be willing to pay the price.
I think depending on what they have there, that would depend on how much we'd be willing to pay.
However, some students are upset that the university is deciding to go through with charging families to visit their students.
My thoughts on them making people pay to spend time with their students, I think that it's unfair.
While some students are unhappy, a majority of students are excited to be spending time with their families.
Yes, so my parents actually are alumni here, which is super exciting. So it's kind of combined Parents and Families Weekend, but also Alumni Weekend. So they will be here for the whole weekend. I'm super excited to see them.
Some goals this year is to maintain a healthy status on campus to continue to have events for students.
We continue to stay in a good public health an even public health situation where we are able to have continue to have events and have guests come to campus.
Even though there are concerns about Bobcat Weekend this year, students, families, and alumni are invited to reminisce and create new memories at Quinnipiac. I'm Samantha Pirelli for Q30 News.
Now with the COVID-19 update from the university, as of September 13th, there are 12 active current cases on campus. And from August 30th to September 12th, there are 20 total cases and 10 new cases in the past 7 days. This prompted the university to send another COVID-19 update in regards to proper use of face masks and said that students and faculty may submit a care and conduct incident report if someone does violate the mask policy. The university also said if any student feels sick or unwell, they should contact Student Health Services immediately in order to minimize spread of COVID-19 and to not attend class if they are symptomatic. And in regards to COVID-19, there are different protocols to follow for Quinnipiac students on campus, depending on vaccination status. If you are vaccinated or unvaccinated and are in close contact, you will deal with different protocols. This has impacted students on campus. Q30's Luca Triant has more.
If you are vaccinated, you don't need to quarantine. What we will do is we identify you as a vaccinated individual. We will test you upon that identification, and then we'll test you again at 3 to 5 days. If you are unvaccinated and deemed to be a contact, then you will be quarantined.
Multi-factor authentication, better known as MFA, is a security system that was set in place as a second form of verification to avoid any security issues. It was initially required only when students were off campus and for certain applications. As of today, MFA has been updated and will be a requirement for students on campus as well. Olivia Cattell has the details.
Today, September 15th, multi-factor authentication will now be required on campus. This means that students, faculty, and staff will now need to use their cell phone as a second form of verification when logging in as an additional security measure. Over the past year, multi-factor authentication has only been required occasionally. Now, with more frequent and more sophisticated attacks, it will be required for all apps accessed on campus.
Last year, we only required it when you were connecting to whatever resource from off campus. And over time, unfortunately, the attacks have gotten that much more sophisticated.
The new requirements are meant to put a stop to phishing emails and scams, causing more attacks and putting more user data at risk. It only takes one student, faculty, or staff to fall prey to a phishing email.
It's something you know and something you have, so you have two pieces to identify you as that individual that has that account.
Requiring a second form of verification will prohibit unauthorized users from accessing Quinnipiac accounts.
One of the nice things about using the single sign-on is once you satisfy, you've logged in with a password and you've proven you're yourself because you have your cell phone or you got the text message. That should persist.
Hopefully, all of our accounts and data will be much more protected here at Quinnipiac thanks to multi-factor authentication. Reporting for Q30 TV, I'm Olivia Cattell.
After the break, we'll show some insights on the Hamden Democratic primary elections that happened yesterday.
But before we go, Carly McManus has the 3-day forecast for us. Carly, what will our day off look like tomorrow?
Sadly, Vanessa, I don't think our day off tomorrow is going to be as nice as we hoped it would be. But anyways, today we had a high of 84 degrees and a low of 70 with some slight thunderstorms coming in tonight. And tomorrow it's definitely cooling down, which is some good news. We have a high of 75 and a low of 66. Some thunderstorms here or there. And then Friday, no thunderstorms that day, but we have a high of 73 and a low of 66. Make sure you're grabbing that jacket on your way out of the house. Stay nice and warm. But that's all I have for now. Come back right after the break and for the 7-day forecast.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Tomorrow, September the 16th, there will be no classes for Quinnipiac University as the university celebrates and acknowledges the religious holiday Yom Kippur, which marks the end of the days of awe or days of repentance that begin with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year.
Speaking of celebrations, today marks the first day of National Hispanic Heritage Month. 200 years ago on this day, Latin American countries such as Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua gained their independence from Spain.
This month first began as a Hispanic Heritage Week and was changed by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. Overall, it recognizes the history, culture, and achievements of the Hispanic American community.
That's right, John, and these celebrations will last until October 15th. However, right now, Hamden's current mayor, Kurt Balzano-Lang, lost in the Democratic primary last night against former town council member Lauren Garrett. Q30's own Hannah Mirsky was at Dunbar Hill School, one of the polling sites yesterday, to talk with some of the candidates on their last day of campaigns.
Candidates for the Hamden Democratic primary elections are here at Dunbar Hill School for their last efforts in reaching voters.
It's been good, it's been crazy. We've been sort of all over town. Meeting a lot of people coming up to me, say they're voting for me that I haven't met before.
It's been really invigorating. It's a long day, so the energy from the voters is keeping me going.
I'm happy, you know, it's really exciting having an opportunity to meet the voters as they are voting.
With a majority of Hamden residents registered Democrat, the primary looks to be a determining factor in the November election.
Hamden is a very Democratic town, thankfully. We have 17,000 registered Democrats, 11,000 unaffiliateds, and about 4,000 Republicans, which means that the winner of the Democratic primary is going to be the next mayor.
And after votes were counted last night, Garrett beat current mayor Kurt Lang and challenger Pete Sire. Garrett won with 2,962 votes, Lang had 1,497, and Sire only 853. If elected mayor, Garrett says her administration will be fiscally responsible and responsive to taxpayers.
Honesty and integrity within our finances. So I've done a lot of work investigating what's going wrong in Hamden and developing a plan with the Democratic Town Committee for us to get out of the mess that we're in.
Garrett will find herself in the elections on November 2nd against Republican candidate Ron Gambardella and independent Albert Lotto. Reporting from Dunbar High School, I'm Hannah Mursky for Q30 News.
Karima Mickens also won in the primary to be the next town clerk. Make sure to stay with Q30 for future coverage on the elections in Hamden. Outside of Connecticut, Dylan Summers is ready to tell us about spiraling weather patterns, national investigations, and an exciting space launch. Right here, right now.
Former USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar is accused of abuse. Star gymnast attended a Senate hearing and described the abuse they went through. Simone Biles voiced that the FBI have handled the investigation better. Michaela Maroney also demanded the gymnasts deserve their justice. The Justice Department have not brought any charges against the FBI agents as of right now. With the FBI put on blast, the gymnasts hope justice is served. Tropical storm Nicholas hit Texas and Louisiana hard. The rain caused severe flooding throughout the towns and cities. Throughout several houses and buildings were torn to pieces from the storm. Trees also fell down and blocked the main roads. Galveston, Texas Mayor Craig Brown said the powerful winds caught the town by surprise. He thought it would be a much lighter storm. The wind speeds reached up to 75 miles per hour and gusts of wind were 90 miles per hour. Now the storm is making its way to the Florida coast. Civilians are going back to space. SpaceX's Inspiration 4 is the world's first all-civilian mission to orbit. The trip was paid by U.S. billionaire businessman Jared Isaacman, who will travel with 3 crewmates. The goal of the mission is to raise millions of dollars for the St. Jude Children's Hospital. One of the crew members, Haley Arsenault, is now a physician assistant at the hospital. She was treated for bone cancer at 10 years old. That is all I have for national news this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. Coming right up after this short break, learn how on-campus activities are encouraging students to stay active and stress-free this semester.
And listen in for the next steps Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont is considering on the fight against COVID-19. Stay tuned. For sticking around. You saw our 3-day forecast, and now you'll see the rest of it. We'll send it over to Carly McManus for our full weather report. Carly?
All right, so we're definitely getting into that fall weather here. Definitely everything's cooling down. So today on Wednesday, we had a high of 84 and a low of 70. Like I said, we had some thunderstorms today. On Thursday, we have a high of 75 and a low of 66. On Friday, we have light rain showers with a high of 73 and a low of 64. On Saturday, looking a little better, getting a little sunnier, definitely a little warmer. So we have a high of 81 and a low of 64. Sunday, same thing, high of 81 and a low of 63. Monday, super nice, beautiful day, not too warm. We have a high of 77 and a low of 61. And then on Tuesday, getting a little warmer, high of 79, low of 59. So next we have the Connecticut weather. So here in New Haven, we have a nice 75-degree high. Right now in New London, we have a high of 72, Norwich 72, Hartford 73, Torrington 70, and Danbury 73. All that and more, heading back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Carly. This past Monday, QU Wellness hosted a reflective hike to yoga at Sleeping Giant State Park, where they stopped to do yoga on the mountain. This type of activity is held every Monday during the fall semester and picks back up again in late spring to show how important it is for students to stay active and show different ways they can take care of themselves throughout the semester.
I thought it was a really great opportunity after classes to get some exercise in and just be around other people who also want to exercise and de-stress together. And I love how these hikes have a different focus every week about like today's being self-care or just general well-being that I don't think people usually talk about on the daily.
On a more national scale, President Biden announced a plan to mandate the vaccine for federal workers last Thursday. This mandate for all federal workers and contractors that work for the government, as well as healthcare workers working for Medicare or Medicaid. Businesses with over 100 employees will also be included in this plan, and the administration of booster shots is also being considered.
Sticking with vaccines, as Connecticut COVID-19 statistics start to slightly dip, Governor Ned Lamont is considering a possible digital passport. This idea has been used already in other cities like New York and San Francisco. This idea would allow for companies like restaurants and bars to verify if people are vaccinated, potentially taking the burden off of those companies. Some are still in question about the idea and if it impacts if the person still has to wear a mask in the vicinity, while others are questioning if it should be mandatory or voluntary.
Up next, Grace McGuire has the latest political news from the California recall election to the events that unfolded at Monday's Met Gala. Grace?
Thank you, John and Vanessa. To start off, let's go to California, where Governor Gavin Newsom managed to fight off a GOP-led recall. In August, Newsom, who was elected in 2018, had addressed supporters and announced that the race was tight. According to his campaigners, mentioning the possibility of a loss woke up voters and made his campaigning easier. His quote, "The race is close enough to start thinking about what it'd be like if we had a Republican governor in California," saved his job, according to his strategists. The new book, Peril, reveals that military advisor General Mark Milley went behind former President Trump's back to ensure national security. Milley told senior military officials in the Pentagon to not take any military orders unless he had a say in them. He also called Chinese military officers to assure them the U.S. would not be starting a war. According to the book by journalists Robert Costa and Bob Woodward, Milley did this as he was worried that Trump would, quote, go rogue and use nuclear weapons after he lost the election in January. The Met Gala on Monday was more than just a fashion show to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Congresswoman, known as AOC, wore a dress with the slogan, "Tax the Rich," printed on the back. The clear message started a political debate. Many, including politicians, took to the internet to accuse her of hypocrisy. However, the Congresswoman is glad she sparked a conversation. She said, quote, "I am so used to doing the same exact thing that men do, including popular male progressive elected officials, and getting a completely different response." That is all for tonight. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Grace. Coming back to Quinnipiac, third-year medical student Matthew J. Swanson was featured in an American Medical Association podcast called Making the Rounds. Swanson tells us just how Quinnipiac prepared him for this opportunity.
From exposure to empowering students, Quinnipiac has done a really good job and has given me a lot of courage to, take these steps to kind of a national seat.
It's so great to see how the skills we learn in the classroom can really make a difference in the real world.
And also great for Matt to take up on his own opportunities. Stay tuned after the break as we'll give you a full rundown of the past week's Quinnipiac Games and an Olympic athlete's return to campus. Don't want to miss it.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Thanks for sticking with us. As Quinnipiac sports seasons start to pick up, Gage Kilborn is here to tell us how our teams are doing. Gage?
So I'm going to get right into it, starting with men's soccer. The men's soccer team is off to a hot start, having won their first 4 games to begin the season. Reigning MAC Rookie of the Year, Brag Austin and Tomas Vicula led the team in scoring goals with 2 goals each on the new campaign during the offseason. It was almost expected for Jared Mazzola to be the goalkeeper for the season, however. We have seen Andreas Adjuvial more in the net, and he has done a tremendous job wearing the gloves by only allowing 1 goal in his first 3 games. The Bobcats will look to continue their streak as Harvard is coming to town this Saturday. Switching gears to the women's soccer team, they have also been off to a hot start, but mainly on the offensive side of the ball. The Bobcats have outscored their opponents 17-4 in their first 5 games. This is all because of Rebecca Cook and Selena Salas, who currently lead the team in goals with 7 and 4 respectively. Dave Clark's squad was picked to finish second in the MAC preseason polls with 103 votes and 2 first-place votes. The Bobcats are preparing for a 3-game road trip starting this Sunday at Columbia before they begin conference play. In volleyball news, Quinnipiac is off to a slow start, losing 8 of their first 9 games to begin the season. Their lone win came against Holy Cross in the Rhode Island Invitational. Since then, they have lost 8 straight and have lost 24 of the last 29 sets they have played. Having said all of this, Quinnipiac had to play some difficult teams, including 2 from Power 5 conferences, which made their out-of-conference schedule that more difficult. I talked with head coach Kyle Robinson about the slump the team was in after the Yale Invitational, and he said that he was willing to play tougher competition as a way to strengthen his team up for the MAC play. Quinnipiac will have its first conference game this Saturday at Berg Con when they take on the St. Peter's Peacocks. St. Peter's, that is all I have in sports. Back to you, John and Vanessa.
Sticking to sports, Iona Marr is a former Quinnipiac rugby star who is known as an Olympian and TikTok star. Q30's Melanie Carreri sat down with Marr to hear her story. Check it out.
It's not every day athletes get to compete in the Olympics, let alone become an Olympian and a viral TikTok star. Quinnipiac alumna Ilona Marr has managed to do both. She became a star on and off the Olympic rugby field only 3 years after graduating from college. Although she majored in nursing, Marr knew she had to make it her mission to further her career in rugby.
And I was in the weight room all day. Like I trained 3 times a day, focused on studies, and then got called up and have been training for 3 years with the USA team just to make the Olympics. So it was a whirlwind, but it was awesome.
While she played in the Tokyo Olympics, Marr gained the title of TikTok Queen by the New York Post and other major media organizations. Marr did not expect to become as popular as she did. With over 800,000 TikTok followers, her goal is to promote rugby and inspire athletes.
TikTok and all these other platforms is a great way for us athletes to get ourselves out there. And TikTok also is a fun way to get people into rugby and into my team. And I was using it a little bit beforehand, but still had minor growth. And then I think people just loved the humor and loved the non-pretentiousness, whatever you want to call it, of my TikToks. And I was given an inside look of that athletes were not just, yes, we work so hard and we're Olympians, but also we love to have fun, we're funny. And, we're also awkward and do all sorts of other things.
Marr wants young athletes who want to pursue a career in their sport to understand the importance of balance between their sport, schoolwork, and social life.
It's going to take a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work, but it doesn't mean you can't have fun and you can't be a person. It's just all about balance and really timing that out.
Ilona Marr is a powerhouse on and off the rugby field. Whether she is playing rugby or dancing on TikTok, Marr is an inspiration to many. Melanie Carreri reporting for Q30 News.
To watch the rest of the interview, visit our website, www.q30tv.com, and download our Q30 TV app. That will do it for tonight's newscast. Vanessa, it was a blast to be on the desk with you tonight.
Thanks, John. You too. Be sure to come back for our next show next week and follow our Twitter at Q30 News. Good night, Bobcats.